TNTM the show presents Comicast 265 with your host Pablo Gunner, and I am here to review the comics for the week of, I don't even know what week it was or what day, the 21st, December 21st of 2016. That is the day, that is the time. That's not the time. But anyways, yeah. So, here at TNTM the show, we have our own grade scale, which goes from, it's our best book of the week, which is Back and Bag of the Week. Then we have runner-up, and then there is strong by, weak by, strong skim, skim, weak skim, and then pass. Pass is pass. So, yeah. What? Oh, sorry. Like I said, our best book of the week. That is where we're gonna spoil the most. I'm just so used to doing this with JD that I just say we. I'm not psycho. I promise. I swear. I might be, but that's not in regards to this. So yeah. What am I doing? I don't know. I never know what I'm doing. So there's a theme. I have a little theme song for each week. For when the timer, we have a timer, and when that timer goes off, the sound goes off, and since it's just me, it's just going to be a minute, and this is what I have this week. Since it's Christmas week, the holidays, all that good stuff, this is what I got for you this week. So that's going to go off. That means it's time for me to wrap it up. There is a crap ton of books this week. So many. I have a giant, monstrous stack. Look at this. This is insane. It's just colossal. It was literally like almost $8. And that's with a sweet discount from Twin Suns and Age of Comics. Without further ado, let's just jump into this, huh? Chacos? So, I'm going to start with Captain America, or actually it's the Mighty Captain Marvel, number 0. Writer is Margaret Stoll, artist Emilio Laiso, and Ramon Rosanas, and then color artist Rachelle Rosenberg, Rachelle Cherie on the tweets, and she's quite the looker. Anyways, so is her colors. Speaking of, it's great. So it's weird because it's Captain Marvel. She's having like this girls' night out. It almost looks like, I don't know, they're just playing some game. I don't know if it's cards or what. And then there's other heroes there, which she's had a falling out with some of them. And I was like, that's weird. Iron Man shows up. Boom, it's a dream. She's talking to a psychologist on Earth. And then she goes back to being 250 miles above the Earth at the Alpha Flight space station. And I don't know if that was just a dream, like that was her in a dream, or what it was fully. I think she was explaining a dream, but I don't know if the whole thing was a dream. Anyways, it's nice. They have some nice down moments. They go into her past, it's really good. There's a good speed to this. There's good, where there's action, and then there's personal stuff, and then there's some action, and there's personal stuff. It was really well paced that way. Like, the way that it was done. Sometimes that can be bad, but the way that this was done really well. I was lost a little bit just because I haven't been following all of the Captain Marvel books. And so, but it ends great, and I actually felt like this would be a great number one. So it's a superb 0. We'll see how the number one is. If the number one is fine without this, or if this should have been the number one or not. Regardless, this was a phenomenal book, and I really like it, and I'm definitely going to pick up the number one, and I suggest you do as well. So that being said, I give this one a strong buy. It looks superb. Like I said, colors are just freaking amazing. All of it just looks prime. Like, they've had very consistent artists with the Captain Marvel books, and it's killer. So, like I said, strong buy. I would even give it a contender because of how good it is for back and bag and runner up. Oh, here's a digital code. Did I mention that I give away the digital codes of all the Marvel comics? Because, well, unfortunately, DC doesn't have digital codes, but they should. We should complain to them about that. But anyways, here's a digital code if somebody wants this one. R for Rigoberto, B for Berito. I don't know if that's even a word. V for Villanueva, M for Marcos, J for Juan. It doesn't even sound like a J. Z for Zorro, X for Javier. That doesn't sound like an X either. G for Jorge. Except Jorge is usually with a J, but this is G. And then 3, and then J for Juan again, B for Burrito, and then V for Villanueva. That one was great. All right, moving on. We have Grounded Star-Lord number 1 with Chip Zdarsky, or as the writer, artist Chris Anka, and then colorist Matthew Wilson. So I really did not want to buy this. I had no interest, but I was like, Chip Zdarsky's pretty good and pretty funny, and then Chris Anka is like one of my favorite artists right now, so I had to pick it up. And it's Star-Lord, and he's just being a bum. You know, he's just hanging out like they're grounded. And this is really cheesy thing. He calls Howard the Duck, then he goes to visit an art museum. In the process, he sees Kitty and some of the X-Men, and then Logan gives him like the protective old man shtick. And then, there is some stuff going on, though. And they end up in a bar fight. Star-Lord, old man, Logan, they end up in this big old bar fight. It's pretty cool. It's pretty sweet. It's turns out to be pretty awesome, surprisingly. And it's just cool because like he kind of just does his own thing because he's such a rogue, around the galaxy. And there's not really, there's rules, but they kind of just do whatever. And now he's grounded on Earth, so he's like, oh, I can't just do the things that I used to before and get away with them. It's interesting. It looks great, so that's the number 1 selling point of this book. And then second, I would have to say, it actually is pretty solid. Like I said, I was like, I don't know, whatever. But it turned out to be really good, and I'm going to have to say that this one actually was a strong buy too, because I was fighting it the whole time and it won me over. It's visually, it's superb. Colors are amazing. They really pop out and everything like that. I like the old man Logan. This is really interesting. I thought it was going to be dumb, but, it wasn't. It wasn't dumb. It was pretty solid. So, like I said, strong buy. I will be picking up the second issue, and here's another digital code if you want to check this one out. F for Fan, Z for Zamboni, M for Mark, 3, 6, I for Icarus, 4, M for Mark, 2, A for Alvin, X for X-Men, L for Logan. Oh. Ugh. All right, folks. Now it's on to Archie number 15, featuring Cheryl Blossom. I don't know why that's a thing, but story by Mark Waid with Lori Matsumoto. Art by Joe Eisma. Coloring by Andre Zamankowicz. And this one, I like the way that this one was set up a lot more because it wasn't back and forth. It was one cohesive story and then another cohesive story. that were separate stories, though. And one takes place in Riverdale, which is Jughead, and he's trying to get things together because, Archie's kind of lost his crap because he's like all depressed that, Veronica left. And so he's in the dumps, and it's his parents' anniversary, and he wanted to do these big plans, but now he's depressed. And so Jughead's like, dang it, I gotta do this. And so he gets help from other people around the town, and then he ends up getting, Archie back, in the game and stuff. It's pretty good. And then you see Veronica, and she's in whatever this other country is, this boarding school, and the butler's like, hey, we need to go back to Riverdale. Like, it's changed her. It's made her a better person. And so you see that, and you see Cheryl Blossom, like, spoiler alert, Cheryl Blossom is going to Riverdale. So I'm totally jacked for this, that everyone's going back to Riverdale, including Cheryl Blossom, and it's going to be drama, and I can't wait for it. And I'm pretty jacked off about the Riverdale show as well. And there is some stuff. There's the teaser for Reggie, which they have a preview for Reggie, and it was actually pretty good. And I like Reggie. Everybody hates Reggie, but yet he's popular. But that's because douchebags are popular. I don't know why. But in high school, maybe in real life too. Like actors, is what I mean. Stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, this was really good. I was really impressed with this. I'm going to have to give this one a strong buy. It looks great. It reads great. Like I said, everything that I wanted it to do, like I was thinking about dropping it, everything that I wanted it to do, it did. And it improved from the last issue. So, another strong buy. Alrighty, and another indie book, except this isn't Archie Comics, this is IDW, and it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Universe number 5. This is $5.99. The first story is written by Chris Mowry. The artist is Michael Dialnot? I don't know. Colorist Tommy Varga. And then the second story is done by Kevin Eastman, Bobby Curnow, Tom Waltz. Script Tom Waltz, layouts Kevin Eastman, artist Bill Sienkiewicz, and then same color artist Tommy Varga. Now, this one is a different story. The first story, this was like a Christmas time. I wouldn't say a Christmas time story, but it's Leatherhead. He's in the sewers, and then you see Hob and stuff, and he's, scrounging around, and there's something going on, like these dog fights going on in this warehouse with Hun, and then Leatherhead and Hob show up to break it up. And the reason that Hob is actually pissed is because Hun isn't giving him a cut because it's his warehouse. And so Hob keeps on trying to team up with Leatherhead, but Leatherhead's like, screw you, everybody for themselves, And Leatherhead's really hardcore. It ends up being a really sad story altogether. And then the second one is the continuation of Leo with the nightmare visions thing going on. This one was actually a lot more clean and a lot more clear, and it was finally concluded. And it was actually him doing a mental fight, and he's talking to April, which looks pretty but it was ended up being really great. I think as a whole, if that thing was complete, I mean, this on its own, the ending to the conclusion was good. I think as a whole, it would have been really solid, and it would have been flowed really well. And the first story was really good too. I'm gonna have to give this one a strong buy because both ends were really great, and they looked really good. I mean, the second story is classic Kevin Eastman, and the first story actually looks pretty classic too, but not as much. It's really solid. Like I said, strong buy. So on to the next book. It's another number 1 from Marvel. It's Gamora number 1. This is another one I had no interest in until I saw that it was Marco Checchetto. I always forget how to say his name. Until I saw that he was the artist, and I was like, okay, I'm down. So yeah, Nicole Perlman is the writer, which is great because this is, a female book, and it's a female writing. It only makes sense. We have Andres Mosa as a color artist. And this is about her as Thanos' daughter. So this is her young. This is when she's like still under his thumb and everything, and it's like about her. He's like, oh yeah, all those people killed your. It's her birthday, and all those people killed, the Badoon or whatever. They killed your whole race and family and stuff. So I'm gonna give you the chance to get revenge. And so she does, and this also has Nebula in it, which is really, really great, and she's in here, and he doesn't even consider Nebula his daughter, because he's like, oh, well, you weren't born, you were just created, whatever, you're just a machine, and stuff, and she ends up tricking her into doing this, like, suicide mission, because they find out that there's actually some Badoon left, or a Badoon princess, which there's always been males. And so Thanos is pissed because of this situation, and I just have to say the art, epic, gorgeous, beautiful, magnificent, stunning, all of it, the colors, the shading, like the faces. There's so much in this. It's so phenomenal. For the art alone, it is worth it, but Nicole Perlman is killing it on this book, and I don't know if it's a limited series or not. I'm going to say that it probably is, but it doesn't say that it is yet. So, it's another strong buy. It is superb. Let's see if there's a digital code in here for somebody. Oh, yeah, there is. F for Familia, Z for Zorro, M for Marcos, K for Kill, M for Marcos, E for Inca, 2, 3, E for Emilio, L for Lupita, M for Marcos, W for Huerita. Man, so many good books this week, it's ridiculous. Speaking of, it's Power Man and Iron Fist annual number 1, or Power Man and Iron Fist Sweet Christmas annual number 1. I don't know how you say it exactly, but anyways, David F. Walker is the writer. Scott Hepburn is the artist. Matt Mia is color artist. And so this one, it's like about this new craze, and they're like, oh yeah, there's this craze that's better than Pokemon Go, and then you can buy, and it's based off of the similar type of gameplay, sort of. And so they go to this store that everybody's camping at to get stuff, and then these bad guys show up. You have like this evil, who was it? It is Krampus, I think. Right? I think it is. Yeah. And then this other dude, I want to say it's, Hellstrom. And yeah, he just, they end up fighting each other, and, Power Man and Iron Fist are there too. And so they end up fighting this person off. Oh, yeah, and then Jessica Drew shows up, too. And Jessica Drew is, I don't know, apparently she's like a horrible mother. I don't know, because she shows up and she's like, Luke, I need help with my kid. He wants to stop crying and stuff. And I don't know, but then they show that this is a worldwide thing and that these evil things are popping up all over the place. But it is wrapped up all in one issue. It's really good. It's really funny. It's really cute. And it's really awesome at the same time. It's freaking great. Like, it goes well with the Power Man and Iron Fist series, but also separate from it at the same time. So, man, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's also a strong buy. So, yeah. Here is a digital code for this one. F for Fan, Z for Zamboni, M for Marcos, I don't know why. Anyways, 4-6, C for Charlie, 1, B for Bravo, 1-1, S for Sierra, 2. Alright, continuing on, it is Green Lanterns number 13. And we have, we see a little of Volthoom, the, first Lantern and stuff, and it's the original Guardians, showing stuff, and the new Lantern rings and stuff, some origin stuff, which is really, really great here. Then it gets back to, you see the Green Lanterns fighting off their worst fears, because that's what this guy's casted upon them. But it's interesting because there is no battery for this, so he's like, you end up being the battery, so it's based off of you, so it can burn you out. And Volthoom's trying to do something to this last Guardian that is explaining this stuff, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. They have to confront their fears. Yes, they do get better, the both of them. It actually is pretty awesome. I felt like this one, it's a little bit of the same, but it is offering new stuff at the same time, so it wasn't bad. So overall, like, I gotta say, I was pretty impressed. Sam Humphries is the writer. Ronan Claquette is the artist. Blonde does colors, and it looked great all the way through. It looks consistent, considering there's a lot of different artists on this book. I was pretty impressed. I liked it, and I'm gonna keep on reading. This is another one I'm gonna give a strong buy to. I'm gonna take a quick swig because I'm parched. Gotta get those electrolytes. All right, let's go on to Star Wars Dr. Aphra #2. It's Kieran Gillen as the writer, and then Kev Walker as the artist. Antonio Favela as colors. And so this one just does show like 18 years ago a little bit, and then it goes to the current stuff. And she's like blaming her dad for screwing her over and getting her stuff revoked, and is like, okay, come on, let's go do this. And she threatens him. It's pretty crazy. And then there's this crazy thing that they're looking into. And so it's interesting because they're talking about the Jedi, and then they show the Jedi with, the blue lightsabers, and then they talk about the Jedi, and then they show them with red lightsabers. So there's a little confusion here with this prehistoric story going on, and it's really interesting, and I want to know more about it because I love the ancient history of the Sith, especially, is so interesting. I mean, the Jedi altogether, but especially the Sith is really interesting. And so I want to know more about that. The art, not bad. Not like the best. And like, I don't know. It's just it'll take time to grow on me because I'm pretty sure this is. I don't know. It's just that, I don't know. Aphra's always been pretty attractive to me, and she just didn't seem or look that attractive in this. I know that shouldn't be like a huge deal, but this also like ties into Rogue One a little bit. It's interesting. So there's many good reasons to enjoy this book and like this book. It's not the best, but it is pretty solid. So I am going to have to give this one a buy, not a strong buy. It's not quite there yet, but I think it has potential. So I'm going to keep reading it. And like I said, I think this is going to be a limited series, even though it doesn't say it yet. So yeah, it's a buy for me. And here's your digital code if you want to check it out. A for Opal, P for Pietro, F for Frank, B for Brillo, E for Echo, R for Richter, Z for Zarbon, 3, L for Logan, 4, J for Jones, and 7. Alright, let's keep it going with some marble. Huh? With Venom, numero dos, number 2. Mike Costa is the writer. Gerardo Sandoval is the artist. Dono Sanchez Almara is the color artist. And so, yeah, it continues on with this dude who is now the new helmsman of the symbiote, and he's meeting with Black Cat, as well as Mac Gargan, who's not in his suit right now. But yeah, I love this Venom. It looks so awesome and beastly and hardcore. The art is just superb and crazy and awesome. But it's crazy because this dude actually ends up fighting and beating up the symbiote and making him like essentially submit to him. Because like this symbiote doesn't want to be with this dude because he's realized that he's not a good dude, and so it's tainting him once again. Uh, and it's really interesting. It's really cool. I want to see more Black Cat and stuff that's going on, as well as more Venom. I really like that. But it's just weird. So I'm really conflicted about this book because it looks amazing. It's really interesting. I like what they're doing with the character of Venom itself. Like the actual symbiote as its own entity and not wanting to be part of this evil dude. And the art looks stunning. It's so hardcore. But at the same time, like, they still haven't explained to me why Venom is separate from Flash Thompson. And that really irritates me. It's one of those things that it's just like the new Daredevil. I just couldn't get into it because I couldn't get over the fact that they just went like, oh, he was in San Francisco. We're just going to forget that happened, and we're just going to pretend that this is something completely new and completely different. Why are you not acknowledging what happened before? That's stupid to me, and that really pisses me off. So, that being the case, like, this is one of those, that pisses me off so much that it's really hard to continue picking this up. I'm hoping that they will explain it, but if, just like Daredevil, I waited a few issues waiting for them to explain it, and they never did, and anything. So, I still enjoy it, but like I said, I have issues with it, and so I'm gonna give it. Like I said, I'm conflicted, so I'm gonna give it a buy right now. I think it has potential to be a strong buy. The only thing that's holding it back is the fact that they're not acknowledging what came before, and they're not explaining why the symbiote is no longer with Flash Thompson. So, yeah. Here's a digital code if you want to check it out for yourself. F for Familia, C for Carlos, M for Marcos, L for Lupita, P for Pietro, X for X-Men, P for Pablito, 372, V for Villanueva, and then 7. Alrighty. Let's see. On to Superman, number 13. And so this continues the Frankenstein arc that Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason do the story. Doug Mahnke is the penciler. Jaime Mendoza, Keith Champagne, Norm Rapman is inkers, and then Will Quintana is colorist. So yeah, like I was saying, it's Frankenstein and the Agent of Shade found this alien, then his bride shows up, which is pretty crazy, and she's like, this is my bounty, I'm here to take this person. It turns out this person like can be destroyed but reformed back together, kind of like Cell or Majin Buu. It's pretty crazy, and so yeah, it's really sad, and it turns out to be a really good, interesting story, and I ended up liking it a lot. I was surprised with how much I like it. It looks superb, and it's really sad, but it's sad for Frankenstein on that part, and then but it ends up happy with the Kents, with the Whites. I don't know what we're calling them. But ended up being a really solid book and like 2-issue story arc. I love stuff like that where it's just like 2 issues, boom, done, really well done story and everything like that. So I'm gonna have to give this one a strong buy. It looks just superb. Alrighty, now we have Green Arrow number 13 with Benjamin Percy as the writer, and then Otto Schmidt as the artist. And it's weird because it's like it has Black Canary and Green Arrow, and they're like wandering around Seattle, but it looks like a desert or a beach. I don't know. Are there beaches over there? It's confusing. He explains why he loves it so much. There's the trees and there's the ocean, and there's this and there's that, and stuff. And he tries to handle things in a good way, like confronting the police head on and being like, "Hey, I'm not a bad guy," and they're like, they try to shoot him, so they run away. Which was that was kind of dumb because it was like at point blank. It was ridiculous. Or like there was a few feet away. And then you see that bad cop that was being dealt with, and how he's going off on his own, doing his own justice thing. And then Oliver's trying to figure out who is the person that's making things bad for him. And then you have Canary, and she's helping him out, going through the police. She is just so hot, and she's so awesome. I don't know. I feel like this was kind of dumb, though, because you have Ollie actually go to the place where someone's going to kill this guy, and it was like, I don't know. Like, I just felt like, should you go there? Because you ended up in a really bad predicament and made you look really, really bad. And it's funny because, like, this guy, he actually looks like Colin Kaepernick, which was pretty funny and interesting. I like it. I love it. In fact, this was superb. This is exactly what I want from an Oliver book. It's also exactly what I want from, like, an Oliver show. It works great, like, just take it down to basics, don't make it ridiculous. And this is just right. It looks phenomenal, I really like this artist. I hope they keep him on. And, yeah, as long as they do, it's going to continue being a strong buy. And you know what that means, folks? That means it's time for a commercial break. And I'm here to talk to you about Albuquerque Comic Con 2017 for January 13th to the 15th at the Albuquerque Convention Center. It's downtown. They have their own parking. It's pretty simple. I mean, you gotta pay for it, but I mean, it's cheap. It's like $2, and it's simple. Boom, right there. You're right there. It's easy. It's easy to get to. It's a nice, beautiful area. It's a little chilly, so I would suggest wearing a little bit warmer cosplays. Even though you won't be outside, you'll be outside for that short time that it takes you to get there. But still, I always say it's January, wear warmer cosplays. So that's not a thing I always say, but I'm saying it. But yeah, there's going to be so many great guests there. We're going to have people from Stranger Things, which I'm really jacked off about because I loved that show. It's so good. And I'm really impressed with the lineup this year because there's such a variety this year. Like, we have people from shows that are new. We have people from stuff that's old, like Karate Kid and The Outsiders, that cast. We have metalheads. We have rockers, That's going to be awesome. And that's guys and gals, all of them, as well as artists. It's such a superb lineup. You definitely have to go online, see whoever is going to be there. Ric Flair's going to be there. That's a huge draw for wrestling fans. I might even get my dad to go, and he is not, he's like this macho Latino guy. So he's not into nerdy stuff. I mean, he likes some of it, but he's not hardcore. But he's an old school wrestling fan and loves, likes Ric Flair. And so, that's a big draw for other people that I know too that are wrestling fans. It's going to be great. It gets better and better every year, the way it's set up, the way that it's done, the panels. I'm really excited to see some awesome panels this year and just to have a blast because I'm already coming up with content to do interviews and just fun stuff, which I will say Friday is the best day to go because there's quite a few guests that actually are there on Fridays, surprisingly enough. And Whether that's what the website says or not, there is guests there on Fridays, and that is the perfect time because it's not super busy, and it's not super busy, so it's the best time to scope out what you want. I wouldn't say the best time to buy stuff because the best time is on Sundays because that's when you get the best deals. But Friday it's the best day to scope stuff out. And if you don't want to, and if you'd rather pay, a few more bucks and not have to deal with all the crowds and stuff like that, or haggling, then buy your stuff on a Friday when it's not busy, But it's the best time to talk to the celebs, to talk to the talent. You talk to artists, talk to, people that are in movies and music, whatever. Everyone's that's going to be there. It's going to be so, so great. I'm so jacked off about it. It's going to be superb. It's going to be a phenomenal time. We're going to have a blast. We hope to see you all there. Like I said, go to the website, albuquerquecomiccon.com, and make sure that you get your passes before because it is more expensive. You definitely want to get at least a 3-day pass. Depending on how hardcore you are, you'll probably want to get a VIP pass. So, and there's a lot that's worth it for VIP. That's something this con does a lot for VIP, so it's definitely worth your money. I mean, you drop a pretty penny, but you get your money's worth out of it. So that's why it's definitely worth checking out for the VIP because they get you front seats, they get you with all the celebrities. You don't have to wait in lines and stuff like that to talk to celebrities or to get their autographs or take pictures with them. It's just simple and easy, and it's just a great system. So make sure that you get. Because I don't think this VIP, it's not unlimited. So make sure that you get it ASA possible. Okay, so all right, so yeah, like I said, check them out, like them on Facebook and everything, so you can keep up on all the updates. They're always doing shares for free tickets and stuff like that. So yeah, it's gonna be a blast. So check it out. Back to comics with Black Panther: World of Wakanda, number 2, and it is written by Roxane Gay, consultant Ta-Nehisi Coates, penciler Alitha E. Martinez, inkers Roberto Poggi and Alitha E. Martinez, and then color artist Rochelle Rosenberg. So this one continues to take place before, I think even before Secret Wars, which is really interesting, and I think it's kind of weird that they're doing that. I don't know if that's the best way to go, but nonetheless, this partnership, that you see the teamwork. It's really interesting. Their relationship is growing, and I like it. It's flourishing, but it's growing. I mean, and it has its struggles, So there's that as well. And I like how they question things. They're not supposed to, but they do, and so. But it turns out to be really, really good, and it's passionate, and it looks really good too. I will say at points there are some points where it doesn't look as good as other parts, but for the most part it's pretty solid and it's pretty consistent. But for me personally, I will have to say though that I just feel like this is not timed well. The release of this, I feel like this should have come out a while back, and it's just coming out now, but we'll see how it connects. I'm going to keep reading it, but I really want to see what they're doing now, instead of what they've been doing in the past. Because to me, the tie-ins into what's going on now, I feel like is more important, and I definitely want to see that. So, yeah, this is another one. It's like I said, that whole aspect of it really irritates me. And that being said, I can't give it a strong buy because of that. Like I said, it's good, but it just can we be more relevant? And I know it's not to the fault of the writers or the artist. It's Marvel. It's on Marvel. And so it's just badly timed. And so Maybe if they were to do something more like, hey, show the present with flashbacks, that would have been better. And like I said, once again, I think that has more to do with the big heads at Marvel rather than the writers, or I mean the writer and the artist. But so yeah, I'm gonna give it a buy. Like I said, definitely think it has potential to be a strong buy, but right now it's just a buy. Especially once they start getting to the present stuff, I think it will definitely get to that point. Use your digital code if you want to check it out for yourself. F for fan, C for camera, M for Mankey, 2583, V for Vegeta, 499, C for Charlie. On to Ultimates Squared. So, number 2. And yeah. So yeah, it's really weird. Al Ewing is the writer. Travel Foreman continues to be the artist. Dan Brown is color artist. And yeah, it's weird. They're like at this crazy, world ship of Galactus, wandering the far stars, and it seems like it's snowing, but it's not. And I like how Monica Rambeau, she explains it, and then you see this, the Living Tribunal, Lord Chaos, Master Order. They're all meeting in the superflow, the higher space of dreams and visions. And it's just crazy, crazy stuff. And then you have Captain Marvel in there too, and she's like questioning, should I be a part of this? Should I not be a part of this? What's going on? I'm not sure. And then I think she seems to make her decision. And there's something else crazy going on. This is just absolutely nuts, and it's just mind-blowing. It looks mind-blowing. It's really crazy, and it's doing stuff that you never even thought was, like, touchable, Like, this is not even stuff, this is, like, crazy space stuff. It's just nuts. Like, it's just crazy. I don't know, like, visually I don't felt like it looked as good at certain points. But I'm not sure if that's just like the choice or the style they're going with. But overall, this book was just freaking killer. I will say that it's a strong buy, but not quite a contender. So yeah. On to Batman number 13 with Tom King as a writer, Michael Janin as pencils and inks, and then June Chung as colors. And this book was everything that I was hoping it would be and more, because, of course, the art is just phenomenal. This artist is one of my favorite artists of DC's. I've liked him since he was doing Nightwing. That's when I noticed his work. But this is, you can tell, Batman's plan coming together. It's like, that I love it when a plan comes together, and yes, indeed I do, because it is just swell. Everything, like every character comes into play, every little aspect of it, and that's what I really, really love. It's just really weird that Bane is naked and he's fighting Batman. At first I didn't notice that he was naked, but he is. And man, this was it. Like I said, I would love to read this in trade. I would love to read this in trade because this would just go so well. I mean, in issues, it's brilliant. But I think in issues it would be even more fun to read. No complaints, only praises to everybody in this. Like, the colors were so great, and everything was just supreme. It's phenomenal. What can I say? All of it. This whole arc was really interesting, very different. They changed it up every issue, it seemed like, but not too hugely. And this one all came together in a, phenomenal way. I give it a strong buy and a contender, for sure. All right, continuing on with DC with Trinity number 4. It is Francis Manapul as the script, Emmanuel Lupacino as pencils, Ray McCarthy as inks, and then Hi-Fi does colors. Now, this one focuses on Wonder Woman in Themyscira, visiting her past. which is really cool and really interesting. She sees a young herself, her mom, and it touches it. It really pulls on the heartstrings because she's been searching for Themyscira for a while in the comics. And mind you, even though I'm not reading the Wonder Woman book, I still feel it. I still felt it, in this book and through other books because she continues to mention it. It's really crazy. You see what's going on in reality and all that, and them just taking this journey through Themyscira and everything like that. It's just so interesting what they're doing because it's almost like a time travel, but it's not time travel. It's actually more like a mindscape dream worlds type thing that's really interesting. And the ending baddie turns out to be really awesome and really interesting. But I'm not sure if I don't think he's the actual baddie. I think it's actually somebody else, but he's just in here, but I'm not sure. We'll see. This is really, really interesting. It looks really great. I don't feel like this one had as much of the Francis Manipool touch to it as the past issues have, which is a little disappointing because I love his style, but it's still a superb book, and, it's still, even though it's not as much his style, it's still superb, so I still give it a strong buy and a contender. Alright, now on to Invincible Iron Man, which I'm not sure why they haven't changed the name of this book. It's number 2 to like Ironheart or, reread something, I don't know. But anyways, it is Brian Michael Bendis as the writer, Stefano Caselli as the artist, Marta Gracia as the colorist. Oh wait, yeah, I do, because Invincible Iron Man sells more. Moving on. Okay, so yeah, this is awesome because it has all these Iron Man armors and they're going after Riri and her armor. And he's like, because now Stark is her AI, and he's like, I'm testing you. I have to make sure that you're prepared and everything like that. And testing the suit and, really, really challenging her, and she's freaking out, all the while they weave this other story that's going on with her best friend getting shot, as well as her dad. And it's really, really like gut-wrenching and heart-wrenching. Like it's messed up and it's sad and it's like I don't even know. It's depressing. It's downright sad and depressing, and I want to see how this affects Riri in the long run, or if it already has and this is something different. I don't know. It looks, Stefano Caselli is one of the best artists. And I loved seeing these other armors, and I was not bugged at her armor at all. It's really growing on me because it has kind of like a Transformer mech look that really, takes me back to like the classic, like 90s mech era, with video games and stuff like that. And I like the way they do her in the suit. It just looks really great, and I love her enthusiasm of the character. So strong buy and contender right here, as well as here's a digital code. F for fan, Z for Zarbon, M for Mankey, 4, Z for Zarbon, Y for Yank, 1, B for Bravo, A for Alpha, 85, P for Pan. Another Marvel book with the Avengers 2.1? Yeah, it's 2.1. With Mark Waid as the writer, and we have... Ooh, I don't even know where the artist is. Oh, yeah. Penciler, Barry Kitson, inker, Mark Farmer, and then colors, Jordan Boyd. And, man, this is just great. I love this book, because this is, like, the way the cover is done, all of it, it looks like classic Avengers, It's Hawkeye, it's Quicksilver, it's Wanda and Steve, and they're taking on this monster that's an Atlantean monster, and it's so great the way that it works out. And man, every character is just so great. It really makes me miss Quicksilver, Wanda, you know, all these characters, just the way that they work together. And then they go and visit the X-Men, because they have this crazy vision of this evil dude. But it looks like he may have not been the bad guy in this situation. They end up befriending somebody that they don't know everything about, and it's pretty terrifying because they just recruit her. They want to recruit. Yeah, they recruit her because they're like, wow, you're really powerful. You should be on our team. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty crazy. I'm loving it. This is so great. I love these comics. I'm giving this a strong buy, and I'm going to be a contender as well. Here's your digital code if you want to check it out for yourself. F for Familia, C for Carlos, M for Marcos, M for Marcos, G for Guano, as JD says, C for Carlos, J for Josefo, that was more like an H, but whatever, 8, E for Emilio, J for Josefo, L for Lupita, and 5. Woo! Here we go. Get ready for some dick. Number 11. And it is Tim Seeley as the writer, Marcus Toe as the artist, Chris Sotomayor as color artist. And it's pretty crazy. I love Dick because first they do a flashback with Dick as the original Robin and Batman, which was really great, and they show the backstory of Tracer, which was so good. I love that they started off with that. And then, I love how he doesn't jump to conclusions. Like, he's trying to figure things out. He gives people the benefit of the doubt. Even when things don't seem to be going in his favor, he really, really holds back. So it turns out there's some criminals from his past and from Gotham that are together, that were young baddies, and they kind of have like a Bad Guys Anonymous group. Yeah, somewhat like the Wreck-It Ralph, but they're trying to be good. Like, they don't want to do that anymore. And it's really interesting. And so Dick gets some tips from them, does some research to find out, and clear this one guy that he thought was bad. And he's getting to the bottom of who actually is bad. All's well that ends well, except that it doesn't end well. The book ends well, but it doesn't end well for one of the baddies trying to go good. It's really interesting. It's really awesome. I love it. I've always loved Dick. As Robin, as Nightwing, as Batman. He is my favorite Batman. He is my favorite Dick. He's my favorite Robin, and continues to be my favorite. And I love it because it's slow. It's a slow build, and I like my Dick taking time. Take time with Dick. Nice and smooth, slow climax. It's great, and it looks just phenomenal too. It's everything about this book is perfect for me. So not for everybody, but it is perfect for Dick lovers like myself. So strong buy and contender. You know. If you watch this podcast on a consistent basis, you know. Alright, continuing, it is Occupy Avengers number 2. David F. Walker is the writer, Carlos Pacheco is the penciler, Rafael Fontaris as inker, and then Sonia Obak as colorist. And this one's interesting because it actually talks about Red Wolf and how he had a past life, but he didn't fulfill whatever was going on in his life. So now, in this life, he's trying to figure it out. And then it gets back to, spoiler alert, Hydro Man, drowning Red Wolf, and Hawkeye, and then these other guys, a couple other natives from this tribe show up, and they're like, we gotta help them. How are we gonna help them? I don't know, we're gonna do it anyways. And so they end up helping, and it's really awesome. I really love this. I feel like there needs to be more representation of natives in, well, everything, but comics for sure. We don't see them in shows very much, and when they do, it's done in like a racist way. Um, I want them to be accurate. I want them to be done right, and this was really awesome, and this was really cool, and this was really well done, I think. And so, I mean, I'm like part native myself. I'm just saying, and so it's cool. It's just cool seeing like these regular dudes go up against Hydro Man and these bad dudes. So, yeah, it looks great. It's really good, and they even show like coming this year in Occupy Avengers, and it shows you the future. So it's like you have reason to continue reading this, other than the fact that it's been great so far, and it's really interesting and really awesome. So I have to give it a strong buy, and I don't know, not I don't know. It's not quite a contender. I don't know what it is. Just slightly off, but it's still strong buy. I mean, you can't complain with that. Um, so yeah, here's a digital code if you want to check it out for yourself. Tell me what you think. F for fan, C for Camilla, M for Mankey, W for Wesker, G for George, E for Echo, Y for Yank, 8, Q for Quill, X for X-Men, 2-9. Onto Thanos. Was that Thanos Baratheon? No, I don't. He might be. I don't know. Anyways, it's written by. It's number 2. Did I mention that? Yeah. Jeff Lemire is the writer. Artist is Mike Diodato. Frank Martin is color artist. And this one actually has them showing like this planet that is known for healing and everything like that. And Thanos shows up and they cannot help him, so he just obliterates them. You have seen Nebula and she's stealing stuff, and then this person tries to recruit Nebula, or they do recruit Nebula, and Thanos actually goes to his father to be like, all right, you're the best artist, not artist, scientist I know, so help me, figure out what's wrong with me, why I'm, spoiler alert, dying, and fix me. And so he doesn't figure out what's wrong with him, but he's like, yeah, something's going on. It's like God cancer. And he's like, all right, cure me. And he's like, if I had time to research this, I could do it. But you have like maybe 2 weeks left. So there's no way. All the while, Thane and this group, they're coming up with a plan to take down Thanos. And it's crazy because they're like, well, even though he's dying and he's becoming weaker, and we've heard stories about that, he's still not doable. And it's crazy because they show that. They go like, there's this group that attacks Thanos, and I think they as well are going to get demolished. So I'm really interested to see how that goes and to continue seeing this. I love Thanos. I don't know if I've said this before. Yeah, I have. Of course I have. Thanos is my favorite villain. And Thane, even if they take out Thanos, which I don't think they will, especially with Infinity War coming up, that Thane may be the new replacement or something. I don't know, but Thane is an interesting character because it's the son of Thanos. And yeah, I love it. It looks phenomenal. I love the paneling of this. I love the colors. They're so different depending on who's like. When it's Thanos, it's more reds and purples, and then it's more plain with this other group. So I love it. I love it. Strong buy contender. And here's a digital code: 30 O for Othello, Y for Yank, 5, G for George, N for Nepal, W for Willow, T for Tank, A for Alvin, R for Richter, and E for Ectoplasm. I don't know. Alright, it's just a few more books, folks. We have Lady Mechanica, La Dama de la Muerte, número 3, I want to say, number 3. And it is created by Joe Benitez, story by Joe Benitez and M.M. Chen, and then pencils by Joe Benitez and Martin Montiel, colors by Mark Garcia. And so this one is pretty crazy because she's like in the land of the dead, you know? And she's seeing the whole village and stuff, and this guy from her past, Dallas, and then they're like, it's not your time, you need to go back. And then there's this guy who's like, he's a doctor, but more like a, kind of like a, I want to say almost like, not a witch doctor, but like a shaman, sort of. And so he kind of like brought her back, sort of, or helped heal her and stuff. And, you know, then she goes after these dudes, and she demolishes, like, she just eviscerates them. It is sick, and it's awesome, and it's just wicked as hell. And at first I thought, like, okay, well, that was easy. No, not exactly. It turns out into a brawl with this dude that was the leader. It's so freaking awesome and hardcore. Great conclusion. This was so amazing. This was such a great arc. I would love to read this in trade. You know, it was only a few issues, but this is also superb in issues. I give this one a strong buy and contender. It was so freaking awesome. Alright. On to Spider-Gwen number 15. We have Jason Latour as the writer, Javier Rodriguez as the artist, Rico Renzi as color artist. Glad to see one creative team on this book. So it's crazy. We have Silk. She gets broken out by this guy in a crazy mask. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you have the Mary Janes. And they are doing this thing, and they're singing, you know, and they're getting money for it, and this guy steals the money, and then Gwen goes after him, and she's like, I'm not going to waste a power-up on this, because she has power-ups. That's the only way she, you know, can have the spider powers. And then this guy shows up and attacks her. Well, Matt Murdock is like, hey, let's meet on the roof, or sends an agent to meet on the roof. And she meets and attacks her, and she's like, oh, dang it, I have to... She ends up having to do something she doesn't want to, and oh man, it was all a trick, and it's so messed up, and it's just so messed up, and it's so crappy. I hate, like, can you imagine Matt Murdock, Daredevil, being a bad guy? Like, that's just the worst. There's some hopeful moments in this, but for the most part, it is pretty upsetting. It's pretty messed up. Really good. Strong buy. Contender. Yeah. Here's a digital code. 2, P for Pietro, Z for Zillow, O for Oscar, 8, S for Sierra, D for Diego, 6, P for Pietro, 1, S for Saiyan, 9. Now, Sam Wilson, Captain America, number 16. Nick Spencer as the writer, artist Angel Unzueta with Zyman Kodransky, and then color artist Jean Rauch. Okay, so we have Misty Knight, and she's pretty much just beating up on Sam Wilson. He wants it, though. He likes the abuse. He wants the abuse because he messed up, and he feels like he deserves it. She tells him to take a day off. He's like, I'll take care of stuff. You know, there's a stilt woman, which is really, I don't know, that's just dumb. But it's crazy. So, turns out there's somebody making sex tapes of all these, you know, powered females or super freaks, I don't know, but they're not really them. It turns out they're LMDs, you know, but they're ruining the reputation of these people. It's great, though, because she takes the shield, Misty Knight takes the shield, she goes after this dude, you know, that's making these videos and stuff. It is so great. I love this book through and through. Misty Knight is one of my favorite characters of all time. She's hardcore. She's badass. She don't need anybody help, and I love her. She's so hot, but she's mostly hot because she's a badass. And then she's hot because she's hot. And then they did go over some of her past too. A nice intro to her as a character in this. This was a great one shot, but it's also great as a whole. So I have to give this one a strong buy as well as a contender. Here's a digital code. Tell me what you think. F for Familia, Z for Zorro, M for Marcos, N for Novela, M for Marcos, G for George, M for Marcos, 7 to Z for Zorro, A for Alamos, W for Huerita, and 5. There's a lot. There's a crap ton of books. I think I only had a few books that were not strong buys this week, so this is a very tough week for me when it comes to back and bag of the week. Man, so many good books. It's ridiculous how many good books there are this week. It's pure madness. Oh man, there's so many books too that they're emotional, and the thing is like when you get my emotions going, that's the best way to win me over in a book. So that's where I'm really having trouble with this stuff. So Nightwing was so great. I love my dick. I do. I love my dick. But there's a lot of books this week that were very emotional, and that being the case, I'm going to have to go with my emotions. And that's just fine with me. I'm going to go with Spider-Gwen as my runner-up. It was so great. I was so glad to see one art team on this. But beyond that, what's really messed up is Matt Murdock is the Kingpin in this. And he breaks out Silk, who is a baddie, breaks her out of prison. And Silk knows that Gwen has no powers. And Gwen has now become kind of like an agent of Kingpin, and so that Kingpin will get her dad out of prison. Essentially, she's made a deal with the devil. Literally and figuratively there. And so it's just this great struggle of do you use my last power-ups or don't use my last power-ups. He ends up tricking her into using her power-ups. He already knew, and then she's like, well, it's fine. I'm not going to be Spider-Woman anymore because I'm almost out of power-ups, so even if you make me work for you, I'm almost done. Well, guess what? He now has unlimited power-ups, so now she's essentially his slave. And she even says, like, I quit, and it's just messed up. All the while, like, there's this cop, and he's this police officer, and he goes to Gwen and says, like, hey, I'm sorry about your dad, and she explains stuff to him, and why don't you give him a visit? It's Christmas. He's in jail. It'll mean a lot. And so he does, and he gives him a book and everything. It's a great, wonderful moment. Really, like I said, tugs at the heartstrings, and it's so brilliant. Strong buy, so different than anything I've read that is spider related, and I love that. But my back and bag of the week is going to have to be Lady Mechanica, La Dama de la Muerte, number 3. And I mean, I love this art. This artist is just superb, and it's really inspiring to see a person who writes and does the art. I love this Mexican style, with the Day of the Dead and everything like that. With the the Aztec stuff. It's so rich in culture, and I love that. Anything that's rich in culture. But this has a lot of feels too, because like I said, she saw that guy that she loved, and he was there, as well as that village that was killed. But her just like eviscerating these dudes was just wicked as hell. And then she fights the boss, and it's crazy because he's like, oh, you're a killer just like me, you're no better. And she's like, you know what, you're right, I am a killer, but only when I have to be. And that's the difference between me and you. And it's so cool because she literally chokes him to death. It is wicked. And then in the end, she's like, she goes to this kid that, that did something bad, but it was just so good. So good. It was just oh man, it was so wicked. And like I said, the feels too, the feels. So that's it for this week. So many freaking good books. It was ridiculous and insane. Strong by. Yeah, back and bag of the week. Lady Mechanica, La Dama de la Muerte, number 3, and then runner-up is Spider-Gwen, number 15. Thank you, folks, for watching. You know, I know it's been crazy. I've been working a crap ton of overtime lately for the holidays, whether I've wanted to or not. And so that's been my lack of posting on the YouTube. So I'm sorry about that. Hopefully I can do more. And that's just something that, yeah. Yeah. So... but I thank you for sticking with me, and I will get caught up. I promise. There's so many shows and movies and comics and you know, everything that I want to review, that I intend on putting out the best product that I can possible for you, and that's part of why I haven't reviewed it, is because I don't want to put out crap. I don't want to just quick nutter it, as my drill instructor from the Navy used to say. Yeah, like I said, there will be more coming out. I have a few videos I need to hammer out before Albuquerque Comic Con comes out. I have a lot of work to do. Some of it I've already done. And I just want to say thank you for everybody for being there, for talking nerdy to me, for us, and any feedback that you give us, whether that be any of the artists, you know, creators, writers, you know, or just you, the people that listen to this or watch videos, you know, any of this stuff. We appreciate it very much. So thank you from the bottom to the very top of my heart. You know, all of the ventricles and all the good stuff, you know. So I really, really appreciate it. And you can find all of our stuff at TNTM The Show, whether the website, Facebook community group, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr. It's all at TNTM The Show. So thank you. Make sure you talk nerdy to me and keep your eyes hungry for comics.